is down for the count, at least for a little bit.
Yes, the Rays have said that he will miss some time. So who should be getting those innings? Interesting. Let's talk about it right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we're the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure you check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays, as well as the other traditional podcasting outlets. Give us a follow and a like on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays, and you can email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. And Ulises, before we get to this unfortunate news with Tyler Glasnow, there have been a lot of questions, inquiries, and requests about another Locked On Rays fantasy baseball league. I don't know, would this be the third annual or fourth annual? I guess third annual. I'm losing track of time here. But the much ballyhooed Locked On Rays Fantasy Baseball League. We have some details if you'd like to share.
Backed by popular demand. It's so cool that you guys are bringing this up to us and not us asking for it. So that's really cool, because then that means that the people that have participated in the league have had fun. And so that's really cool. But because of the abundance of requests, Kevin, we got to kind of filter that, right? So we have a couple of things that we're asking from those of you who want to join the league. Number one, you got to send us a verification that you're subscribed on YouTube. It can be a screenshot. It can be a photo of your desktop if you're not very tech savvy. Okay, so you take a picture saying, hey, I'm subscribed to Locked On Rays on YouTube. That's number one. Cool.
Number and also hold up the day's newspaper as well, just for triple verification. Or your iPad, since nobody purchases newspapers anymore.
There you go.
They use it for bird feeder, more or less.
And number two, send us a voice memo. Send us a voice memo with a mailbag question and all of this on an email. That will get you a spot in the fantasy league. So again, if I were to send it, if I wanted to be in the fantasy league, I would take a screenshot of saying, hey, I'm subscribed to YouTube, to Locked On Rays, and I would put it on an email. And then on an email, I would also put a voice memo saying, hi, I'm Ulises from Ybor. And my question is, Kevin, how many times do we need to go through pitcher injuries? Thanks. I'll hang up and listen. That would be my voice memo. And boom, you send that email to lockedonrays@gmail.com and you get yourself a spot on the league.
Yeah, again, so really it's very simple. We have to try to pare this down, and whoever can best follow directions, first come, first serve. I know we've had a lot of regulars, OG listeners and fantasy members, but we're opening up to the public. Anybody, it's, hey, send us that screenshot and send us that voice memo, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Your name, where you're from, and a mailbag question, comment, hot take, whatever it may be. So and have we decided do we have a cap on how many teams are going to be in this league, or?
I believe last year we did 18, and it was a you-know-what, people. Okay. It was a bleepathon.
So maybe 12 or 14. I mean,
around there, something manageable. 12 I think would be best. So hey, if you want to be in this league, you know what to do. Send it quickly.
Yeah. And quite frankly, this kind of gives the upper hand and the edge to those that are already subscribed to YouTube, because they're going to get this podcast at midnight,
Yeah.
So it's, I guess, those nocturnal folks that want to participate in the fantasy league. So we'll send more updates on that as well. And of course, we'll play your voice memo on the air and give you all a shout out too. All right, let's get to brass tacks here. Tyler Glasnow is sidelined until at least mid to late April after sustaining a grade 2 left oblique strain while throwing live batting practice on Monday. No bueno.
No bueno, man. Could be worse. Could be the shoulder. Could be the elbow. Could be the arm. Right.
Yes.
So oblique. Okay. Not a worst case scenario. 6 to 8 weeks after the MRI. Okay. So let's talk 8 weeks. That would be all of March. Right. 1, 2. Yeah. All of March. And basically all of April. Because that's 8 weeks, but I'm thinking he has to then do some sort of Tyler Glasnow spring training. He needs to do some actual gameplay. It's not like 8 weeks and hey, he's on the mound for the Rays. He'll need some starts to get stretched out, correct?
I would think so. So maybe I didn't read the full context of the article. So I was under the assumption that he would be back in the Rays rotation by late April.
I think that's best case scenario.
Okay, best case scenario. Okay.
I think that's best case scenario. Look, let's hope. Let's hope. That would be fantastic. So let's put it out in the ether that he would be back late April. That would mean that he misses what, maybe 3 starts potentially?
Yeah.
3 to 4?
Which, I mean, he is a elite, unique, freakish athlete. So his body, at least, we're not talking about an arm, shoulder, elbow, hand, wrist situation here. He could heal much more quickly, or maybe that timetable is closer to 5 to 6 than 7 to 8 to 9. But that's one thing. Hey, at least it's not arm related. That's most important at the end of the day. The other thing too is, just perusing the Rays' first month here. It's relatively easy pickings the first couple weeks of the season. I mean, through April 13th, they have the Tigers, trash, Nationals, trash, Athletics, trash, Red Sox, most likely trash. Then you have the Blue Jays, good, Reds, trash. Then, and that's through April 19th. And then the later half of the month gets tougher where you have the White Sox who I've read some projections that see them as a 500 or below 500 team. The Astros, we know how good they are. And then the White Sox again. So at least those first couple weeks of the season, you shouldn't have too much trouble navigating things.
You shouldn't. You really, really shouldn't. But as we've known that in this podcast, when we say, oh, that's going to be an easy series, boom, it usually turns out the opposite. But honestly, like those 3 first series, Tigers, Athletics, and the Nationals.
Yeah. Trash.
If the Rays are not 6-2, I am going to legitimately be mad. like you need to win those. Like you need to be at least 6-2 to start the season. Like that would be on the right path. Like you can't lose to the Nationals, Athletics, and Tigers if you want to, take advantage of those teams.
Yeah.
And not have to face your interdivisional rivals as often as you used to. So you're right. They might not miss Tyler Glasnow. So that's a really good aspect. So let's hope that those 8 weeks do count the whole stretching out and the rehab stints, because they'll need them after that.
Now, playing devil's advocate, I guess, as far as the schedule is concerned, I guess Nationals would be on the road, and I believe Reds would be on the road, and you're hitting mid to late April by that point. So we do know how the Rays fare, for better or worse, in those chillier conditions the first portion of the season. I would imagine Cincinnati in April might be okay. I don't know. It's just a gamble. Outside of anything to me outside of Florida, Texas, California, Arizona could be a crapshoot. But at least it's not. Hey, you're going on the road to Chicago. I mean, later on in the month you are, but those first couple series anyway.
Yeah, so. No, I think the weather is always a thing to keep in mind. I don't know if that would change because they would be under AC now, with playing at the Trop. So no, that'll be something to keep in mind of. But still, again, you need to put your foot down against those lesser teams. But If you want to look at silver linings, okay, 6 to 8 weeks, cool. Not the arm, cool. And most of all, it's early enough that he only misses a few starts if everything goes well.
Right.
Imagine if this happens in July or August, then you lose him for the rest of the season. So overall, it could have been really, really worse. And it seems to not be really, really bad.
Yeah.
So that's good.
We'll continue on this, of course, much more to get to on the Glasnow injury. But first, we have to tell you something very important, and that is this. The midway point of the NBA season is here, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel. It is America's #1 sportsbook. You should know that by now. That's because new customers get a no-sweat first bet for up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. So just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Also, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get your no sweat first bet for up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/locked on. That's FanDuel.com/locked on. LOCKEDON. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Another silver lining, if we're going to, I didn't realize we'd have this many silver linings on a Glasnow going down episode, and this is something we'll talk about, I suppose, more in depth on Thursday's episode, but I'm all about opportunities. I'm all about, hey, you have an opening, take advantage of it. So there are guys waiting in the wings who want that starter role or want those innings that, at least for the first couple weeks of the season, will be vacated by Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah. And depending on how they are doing in spring, how they're looking, how they're faring, and whoever gets stretched out the most, you could see an opener situation. You could see a legitimate starter for that role. I don't think that it's going to be that much of a difficult decision. And we will get to it on Thursday's episode. At least in my perspective, it's pretty clear. But yeah, competition is always good. You got to make these guys fight for a role. Maybe even a young guy who wants to prove himself goes above and beyond. It's going to be really fun to see those guys battle it out. But we'll probably talk about those names on Thursdays.
And we do have a Twitter poll and question that we'll discuss in a little bit too. But this is also a case of, everybody's talked about, oh my gosh, look at the Rays 1 through 5. It's amazing. It's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And it is. It's awesome. It's great. But you also better have a backup plan and a backup plan to that backup plan and a backup plan to those backup plans. You better have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys waiting in the wings. You better be confident in that next man up, in the man after that, and the man after that. And if you're a Rays fan, I mean, you should be relatively confident in all that. And let's be frank here. Glasnow, this is just the first case. Throughout the season, I guarantee there will be another starting pitcher in that 1 through 5, whether it's Springs, Rasmussen, McClanahan, Eflin, as much as y'all don't want to hear it, one of them is going to go down. Maybe more than one of them.
What I don't understand, Kevin, it's that it seems like, I'm just going to talk about Rays fans here, but it's basically all baseball fans. It's like there's like amnesia that happens after a season, and then they're like, oh, we have the best 5 in the league. It's like, it's a good 5. It could be the best in franchise, but we also need to talk about number 6, number 7, and number 8. How is that depth going to really supplant one of these guys falling under? And we did our job. When we talked about the starting pitching, we talked about number 6, number 7, and number 8. We also did the comparison to 2012. And who were the names that were 6, 7, and 8? That's what you have to look at. So it really bothers me how Rays fans all over the anti-social media were all about these 5. It's like, it takes more than these 5 guys. Do you not know that injuries happen? I get so frustrated that there are fans that just completely have amnesia and forget that people have injuries and then just focus on the 5 names. Like, have you not watched baseball? Do you know what it takes to have a whole season of guys throwing the ball? I didn't know that it bothered me this much, but it really does. Like, it takes more than 5 guys. Why are Rays fans like this? I don't get it, man.
Yeah, it's again, all you have to do is just go back in the archives, look at the amount of injuries that the Rays had, position player wise, pitching staff wise. Really, just go back in time every single year and see what they've had to deal with. It's one thing if you have a 60 game COVID season, but over the course of 162, you're expecting these guys to make 30, 32 starts. It's just really, really not realistic anymore. Speaking of that, I didn't think it was really tongue in cheek, but I did make a little comment on Twitter just asking, and I want to get your take on this, Ulises.
Sure.
Is Tyler Glasnow the Kevin Kiermaier of the Rays pitching staff based on what he's done or hasn't done as far as posting? We talk about that all the time. Posting, we look at 2019, 2020, he again, 60 game season, he posted more than anybody. He actually led the team in innings, only 57, 11 starts in 2020. 2021, 14 starts. 2022, of course, he just had those, couple innings that he put forth. But he's missed a lot of time since being a Rays starter.
I see, this is the thing. Again, maybe this is another pet peeve, but like, I missed that tweet of yours.
Okay.
But I know where you're coming from. Like, it's funny. Like, it made me laugh. Like, I know where you're coming from. But because anti-social media, I'm sure, and I'm going to be very surprised if you tell me no, but I am sure that some people came at you saying like, oh my God, how dare you say, compare, like, were there any comments like that? Like, not getting that it was funny?
Hey, that was a sick burn sort of a deal, but honestly, I haven't gotten a lot of traction. Maybe I'm just, it wasn't as good of a tweet as I thought it was. Maybe it wasn't as,
I thought it was funny,
punchy as I thought it was. But my larger point is, the ability to stay on the field
matters.
has not been there for Tyler Glasnow. That is something that people do not want to mention. I think he's like the Teflon Don. He's like, I mean, pretty much,
Yeah. About like, we've talked about his inability to post so much that I think a lot of Rays fans know that he has never surpassed 113 innings in a season before. That's his career high, 113. Should we know that by heart? No, right. But we've talked about it ad nauseum. That I do. 113. I think it's 113 and a third, if I'm actually being super, super anal about it.
How long ago was that? I mean, that wasn't in 2022 or 2021 or 2020 or 2019.
I think it's 2018. Yeah.
2018.
I think so. Like,
which again, that forces me to think that, can he even handle a full workload? Like, at some point, if you haven't shown it, I mean, what's going to happen if he gets forced or pushed to 140, 135, 145?
This is why, if we go back to the first segment, it's a very opportune in the inopportune case that he got hurt when he got hurt. And what I mean by that is it gives him time to miss baseball activity that doesn't really matter. So let's go back. If he's back mid to late April and everything else is fine, he could still post without having to have those, hey, can you just throw 3 innings and then we'll get you out because load management? Like, right. That shouldn't happen because he's already taken those innings away on the first half. So we shouldn't see, oh, I have a little cramp, so I'm going to go on the 15-day IL and it's really nothing. That shouldn't happen. Like, those innings are covered already by this oblique injury. So hopefully, if he's healthy the whole year and he comes back, you could see 130, 140, hopefully 150 from Tyler, because you're not going to baby him. I wouldn't think.
Well, that kind of brings me up to my next point. Again, I know, Ulises, you're not on board, or you're not of the opinion that the Rays would trade him next season with that $25 million price tag attached to his name. But just hear me out. He returns from that oblique issue and goes gangbusters the rest of April, May, June, and July. Is that the time that the Rays pull the trigger and see if they can get a boondoggle of a haul? If, hey, Todd Bradley's really kicking it in AAA. Man, Yanni Chirinos, he's looked solid. Luis Patino finally figuring it out. Hey, we got some depth with Josh Fleming. We can do some creative things with Jalen Beeks. For a guy that hasn't thrown more than 113 innings in a season, the Rays paying that player $25 million befuddles me, quite frankly.
If that will only happen, the only case that happens is if the Rays are completely out of the playoff picture.
Okay.
I can give you that scenario happening if the Rays are no way going in October, which I find to be very, very unlikely that the Rays are not going to be a playoff team. So that's the only way I see that happening, because let's go back to what we were talking about, when I got all, 7 minutes ago. You need depth. So you're trading Tyler Glasnow. Like, first of all, if you're trading Tyler Glasnow, you better get some offense. Punto. Like a major league bat. Not like, hey, this guy could pop off, or hey, these guys could pop off in 3 years. Like, nah, you getting somebody right.
It better be Jose Abreu in his prime, sort of a deal. Somebody in their prime. Or who's the guy with Brian Reynolds?
Sure.
With Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So I don't think that happens still. I'll still fight you on that.
Okay, what about in the offseason? He posts the rest of he's healthy. He does everything we ask for him the rest of the season, and then the offseason.
That's more likely. That's more likely than the trade deadline, but still you're talking about if they keep him through the whole contract, they can offer him a qualifying offer, which he's going to scoff at, and then the Rays get a compensation pick, which they would love to have, right, other than than whatever they could get on the trade market. So I feel like that's a better pick. And besides, like, they've stressed continuity, right? That's Bendix, that talk. That's Neanderthal continuity.
Right.
I don't think it would speak very well if they're talking continuity to Solons and everybody else. And then on the other hand, they're trading Tyler Glasnow. A little bit hypocritical, I would think.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time that the Rays have pulled the rug over on the fan base and the media. But point aside, no, I understand your point with all that. Which before we get to some comments here, just a general question regarding this injury. So it happened, it happened during a live batting practice, regular baseball activities. Mm-hmm. Would it upset you more that this injury happened in the manner that it did, or if it happened like a freak accident of, oh my gosh, he slipped in the shower, or, he slipped out, like one of those classic freak baseball injuries, like he tripped on something in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Or it just wouldn't matter because he's down and out for the count.
I think it's better for the fan base knowing that it happened on the field.
Yeah.
I think then he was taking off his shirt and now his rotator cuff doesn't work. It's like, what?
Right.
That's, or, I was getting out of the shower and I broke my toe. Like, what?
Yeah.
How?
I was in a dance off with Randy Rosarena and I pulled something. I felt something snap. Not good.
I was wrestling Jim Hickey, and so now I'm on the 15-day IL, says Grand Balfour.
Man, good times.
Yeah.
Who was it? Somebody got hurt. It was San Diego, I think. It was a freak.
Musgrove with the toe, I think. I don't know. He got some advice from Blake Snell there on the toe situation.
Yeah. It's just crazy. I don't know. Maybe, elite level pitchers have enlarged toes or something. Whatever. All right. Let's get to some comments here based on our Twitter poll. Rays fans, if Tyler Glasnow has to miss some starts due to the oblique injury, which is very possible, who would you rather see take his spot on the rotation? The only requisite is having prior MLB experience. The choices were Luis Patino, Yanni Chirinos, and Josh Fleming. Chirinos got 56% of the vote, Patino 40% of the vote, and Fleming just 4% of the vote. And some comments here. Mark Joe says, Yanni, can't wait to see him back after so long. Jake Stokes says, Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer wasn't in the list there. As long as he has the understanding that he is on incredibly thin ice and could only have a spot till Glasnow comes back if he doesn't perform or behave himself. I know we addressed this months ago, but there is maybe less than 0% chance that Trevor Bauer's in a Rays uniform, and maybe less than like a 1% chance that he's in a big league uniform.
We have the same thought, and we haven't actually even talked about this off air.
Yeah.
Less than 0% chance he's with the Rays, man. Like less than 0. That's not happening.
Yeah.
And I would be flabbergasted. All right. Vocab word of the day. I would be flabbergasted if that guy ever plays in MLB again. I'd be very, very surprised.
Put another way, I think it is more likely that you see in 2024 Shohei Ohtani in a Rays uniform than you ever see Trevor Bauer in a Rays uniform. Is that fair?
I would 100% agree on that. Yes, there's more chances of Ohtani signing a long contract with the Rays than Trevor Bauer signing with the Rays. 100%, yes.
How amazing would that be, by the way? Now, we're going to have people in the comments. What if Shohei Ohtani really came?
Yeah,
no, it's not happening. Unless the Rays borrow some money from the Padres, evidently.
Are they having fun over there?
Yeah. Just wait till the debt
crazy
service
town.
kicks in. I don't know how they're doing it. Really don't. All right. Brian Kim says, I'm not as worried since Glasnow got hurt now. I'll be honest. The latest he'll return is late April. He'll miss maybe 5 starts. I think he'll be back by mid-April. And so I'm not too worried. Even if he returns late because of rehab, I'm not worried. So Brian is absolutely not worried. Chris says, Yanni, Fleming sucks. And not sure what to make of Patino. He's not consistent enough. Justin says, Yanni, I think Patino is a long man at this point. And the Rays way says Patino if he displays stronger command, but Yanni might be the safer option. So,
yeah, those are all fair comments. Except I think let's take it easy on the S word there, guys. I mean, he is a major league pitcher. Yeah,
he is.
Might not be your favorite, but he's still a major league pitcher.
Yeah. I don't even want to
open that can of worms.
Yeah, I'm not going to open that can of worms with. I was going to make a joke about his ERA, but
well,
already.
The spring training ERA, it does hit you in the face like a Buick.
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
Side note. Okay, Tyler Glasnow. Last thing. Over under 25 starts for the Rays. Under.
Yeah.
How much under?
I'm saying I'm going to be very happy if he touches 22.
Okay, so 22. I'm just going to do some quick math here. Man. So does he, with that 22, okay, over under 120 innings from Tyler Glasnow?
Going over. I'm thinking 125, 130.
Okay, so he's averaging well over 6.
Yeah. If he averages 6 for 22 starts, it'd be around 132.
Yeah, that'd be 132. I would take the under there. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think that'd be a good starting point to go off of.
Yeah,
it'd be over the most he's ever had in his career. So
yeah, over 20 starts, awesome. Over 120 innings, awesome. Perfect. Yeah. That he did his job. I think we would all be very, very happy with that. Before we go, Kevin, I think we should remind folks what they need to do if they want to join the fantasy league.
Yeah. Take a screenshot to prove that you are subscribed to the Locked On Rays YouTube channel. Send us that screenshot. Don't just take it and keep it in your camera roll. You got to send it to us. I guess with that email of the voice memo. That's the part 2 of the equation is send us a voice memo, email to lockedonrays@gmail.com. It would be delightful if you included your first and last name and where you're from. Again, Ulises Sambrano from Ybor City, Kevin Weiss from Parts Unknown. I don't know if people know my business.
Yeah.
You just Google somebody's name and you can look up all their voting records and all their addresses and all their relatives. It's really kind of concerning.
Insane.
Yeah. Did I explain it well enough? Or
I think they got the gist. Just make an email with the screenshot that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, and then put your voice memo on that. Say your name, where you're from, and a mailbag question.
Yeah.
That will get you a spot on the fantasy league.
Yeah, and again, the voice memo, please don't make it 3-4 minutes long, under 60 seconds.
Yes,
please. It can be 10 seconds. If it's a very quick question or a quick statement, we're cool with that. You do not have to go on a soliloquy.
Hi, my name is John. I'm from Clearwater, and what do you think the Rays record will be? Thank you.
This isn't filibustering or grandstanding in Congress. So
yeah, none of that.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Thank you for making the Locked On Rays podcast your very first listen every day. Now make your second listen the Locked On MLB Prospects podcast. That is also free and available on all platforms. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you on Thursday.